So, good afternoon and all, and welcome to my presentation on the necrosis disease of cotton, which is an emerging one, and how to manage it. So this is the institute where I belong to. It is an ICR, Central Institute for Cotton Research Regional Station, which is located near to the Agriculture University, and our headquarters is at Nagpur, and we have another regional station which is at Haryana, which is Sirsa. And when we speak about cotton, so it is a non-edible crop, and if you see 77 countries has been cultivating cotton, of which 105 countries has been consuming as a for its textile industries. So of the world, you see the top 4 producers are the United States, Brazil and China, and India is also one of the top producers. So when we speak in India, we usually refer cotton as a white gold, and it is a cash crop. So it is a leading producer of which is competing China, and by 60%, 5% of cotton fiber which is used in textile industry. So this slide I have given here is our target in 2030 was to increase our productivity as also production to 8.95 million tons, where at present we have 6 million tons. So when you see, the productivity is very less when you compare to the global scenario. So we have only 450 kg length per hectare. We have to increase up to 746 kg. So for that, in order to meet our demand, like a 47 meter cloth per capita. This is the target. So this is the means the area of production yield of in India. So when you see, there are the 4 species which we cultivate in India. The diploid cotton, which is Gossypium arboreum, and Herbaceum. Gossypium is a tree cotton where 2% contributes, and this cotton is mainly we use for the surgical purposes. And this Herbaceum is only in the research study, and this we not found in the farmer's field. The other is the tetraploid cotton, which is Hirsutum and the Barbadense. So when you see, this is the American upland cotton, which contributes 90% of our cotton, and where this is the BT cotton where it is derived. And the other is the Barbadense, with the origin is from Egypt. We call this as a extra long staple cotton also. And when you see what are the challenges, when you speak about why the cotton productivity is low, when you see all those years in India, when you compare to the other countries, is narrow downing of our genetic diversity. This is the first reason. And the other is the one we developed BT cotton in 2003. It is mainly for the American bollworm. But those BT cotton are now said to be resistant to the pink bollworms. This is the recent scenario. And the other one is we are expanding our long duration hybrids to the marginal areas also where it is not suitable. And also the increased frequency of extreme weather events, and also soil health we are not concentrating. The other most important is the pest and disease outbreak in cotton. And also the deprived technologies what we are developing by the researchers or the scientists, it will not be reach up to the cotton farmers. So when you see about what are the diseases in cotton, so we can see the soil-borne disease like root rot, wilt, and the fungal foliar and bacterial foliar disease also there. The Alternaria cornispora, this is the recent one, and the grey mildew and bacterial leaf blight is there. And when you see the boll rot, which is the most emerging disease in recent years, which is along with the pink bollworm. The pest and this disease both are contributing for 90% yield loss in cotton of recent years. When I speak about the viral diseases, the 2 most important viral diseases, the cotton leaf curl virus and the tobacco streak virus. So when you see the India disease scenario in India, the cotton is divided into north, central and south zone. When I speak about south zone, the TSP is more important in central and south zone. And when in north zone, the CLCV is the more problem, of which 90% yield loss was reported. So when I speak about necrosis disease, wherein it is caused by tobacco streak virus, so this is the most devastating one because it is a polyphagous nature. You can see 200 plant species has been infected, and this is first described in 1936 by Johnson. After that, you can see how it has infected. So the first is reported in sunflower, later by the groundnut in Andhra Pradesh. And also in 2003, you can see it has spread to the other crops, the horticulture crops also. And when you see the timeline, you can see 2005 only it is reported in cotton, that is in Warangal in Andhra Pradesh. And later that in 2016, it is the report in Tamil Nadu where you see 62% yield loss was there. And after that, the recent scenario for the past 5 years, it is keep on increasing in the southern zone of cotton cultivated places. So when you see, this is the virus of Ilar virus type genus of Bromaviridae family, and we have tripartite. So RNA 1, 2, 3 is there, and where one is responsible for its viral replication, and the 2 is for this RNA silencer suppressor, and 3 is for the movement protein and coat protein genes. So when you see in the field how these symptoms means, when you see in the 45 days after the crop, you can see the first is the stunting, what it is given in the slide. So this is stunting of the plants, first one, and the second one is the chlorosis and the necrosis, both together in the growing the young leaves. So after that you can see the necrotic lesions, and this lesion will spread to the petiole also, and the later stage you can see the drying of the squares. So this is where this is the drying of squares what we observed in the near 70 to 80 days of the crop. And when you see in arboreum also we have found this TSV. And when I speak about the barbadense, which is Egyptian cotton, the symptoms are entirely different from the hirsutum, where we observe chlorosis and necrosis. Here we observe only the purple necrotic spot, what I have given in the upper side of the picture. So, and you can also see this distortion of the leaf. This is the main symptom, and also the plant stunting. This is drying, also the similar one. So why this slide I have kept means, when you go to the farmer's field, when you inquire about the farmers, they are unaware of whether it is the deficiency or the viral infection. So the awareness is important. So this I have given that the upper side you can see the extreme leaf reddening. This is the important problem in cotton. This is because of magnesium deficiency. The other is chimer effect, which is genetic mutation happens because of the chlorophyll pigment is lost in that place, a particular place. This should not be confused with the chlorosis, which is caused by TSV. The other important symptom is the 2,4-D. When you have 2,4-D, it is extremely dangerous to the cotton. Even a small bit or a drift, it will causes the leaf ination. You can see leathering of the leaf. So this is entirely different from our TSV. So we should know how to distinguish from the other abiotic stresses which is happening in cotton also. So when we speak as such, unlike the fungus or the bacteria, the virus cannot be cultured as it is an obligate parasite. Everybody we know. So we have to maintain our virus in a live plants. That is nothing but the artificial inoculation, wherein we used to create the aberration using the carborundum powder, which is silicon carbide. We have to make the cowpea, is the host, which is the local lesion host, which is for all virus we can use this type of cowpea plants. Which is for sap transmission. So we have to use this phosphate buffer to inoculate it, and after that we can see the necrosis and chlorosis symptom. And this is the first assay, and after that we can continue to maintain the plant in the the cowpea or the cotton plant, or else we can go for the assay like molecular assay for RNA isolation and the RNA characterization, and also for the serological assays. So this is how we maintain the plant and the virus in the live plant. And the other, it is a vector transmitted. So as we know that it is a pollen assisted by thrips. So the second instar larvae of thrips is responsible for the vector transmission. So when you see this evidence of the pollen, of the Parthenium pollen, and the vector multiplication will make the severity of the disease in the field. So when you see the integrated management, this I will cover the later part. So when you see among all the management, when you speak, breeding for resistant varieties is important. Why? Because when the plant is tolerant to that particular disease, if for example for the TSV, then there is no escapism will be there. So for that we are going for the screening. Initial step for the developing of resistant variety is just screening. So when I take this project, it is in Barbadense. It is a major problem in South India where it is cultivated. So 300 germplasms we have screened for the 2 years, and this among the 300 germplasm, 14 are highly resistant and 94 highly susceptible plot lines, germplasm lines were selected. And this is, since it is a breeding plot, I have taken the other study in a separate plot. So where we developed a novel standardized screening technology for this TSV in the field. So where we have to sow susceptible lines in 4 rows along with the resistant line. And along with we have to grow for a susceptible check, sowing a susceptible check, and we have taken here to create the disease pressure and also the vector pressure population. We have maintained here the bendy, 1 row of bendy, chili and black gram. These are cultivated, and we have to go for the screening, and we have to observe for the disease occurrence at 45 days and also 60 days periodically. And we observed that this 162 ICB 162R, which is the among the 14 resistant line. This performs well with less disease score and also for the virus. And this is the correlation heat map. What we developed is from the agronomical features. When you see that the TSV disease incidence, we can see that the number of sympodial branches and number of bolts per plant was positively and significantly correlated with the incidence. It speaks that when the disease incidence is less, these two features means the number of bolts or the sympodial branches will be reduced.
5 minutes
yes,
more.
It's over. That's all. Then when you see, this is the important one, because why means when you see in the field, here we maintain the Parthenium plant in vitro, because you can see this Parthenium plant as a reservoir. So during the off season, this thrips will breed in the Parthenium plants, and when cotton is cultivated, this thrips will transfer this virus through the pollen from the Parthenium plant to our cotton plant. So in this manner, it is multiplying and spreading the virus from the infected to the healthy one in the field. So this is the one more study. It is because how the day of difference in the sowing date affect this virus means for the consequent 2 years we have seen in Suvin and MRC, it is a hybrid in ELS cotton. So we see that when the cotton is grown, and this particular Suvin is sown on 29th August means when the crop reaches 60 days, the disease incidence was more. So what I have to tell from here is for the farmers, when you go for Suvin or the ELS cotton, they should take up the cultivation before the last week of August. They should take either by the 9th of July or the 4th of July in order to reduce the incidence. Why? Because during this 60 days, the crop will reach during the month of November. During the November month, the prolonged winter, this is susceptible for the barbitans. So along with the abiotic stress and our TSV, so we have severe square drying will be observed in the field. So when you talk about the epidemics, how it TSV contributes means based on the abundance of thrips population and because of mixed cropping like sunflower, groundnut together, sesame, everything. And also when you see TSV is it's a polyphagous nature. So it will also reduce the crop productivity also, and also it results in epidemic protection also. So when you see how in food safety means, it is a non-edible crop. Though it is a non-edible crop, when the cross infection of thrips will happen when it feeds the cotton and simultaneously when it feeds the sunflower or the other groundnut plant. In that way, it will result in the cross contamination. And also when you go for thrips management, we will be using the insecticide. So in that way, when you use more of insecticide, the pesticide also, it will make the environment unsafe for the beneficial insect population. That also we have to take care. And when you see as a food security means where because of the low cotton seed yield, it indirectly contributes to the livestock feed. So in that way, the cyclists get affected because of this epidemic nature of the virus. So when you see this management means we have to go for vector control and also host resistance, what I was saying, given the talk. And also we got to go for epidemic surveillance. What we are talking about is the spatial monitoring should be there properly at the early detection. And also we have to educate the farmer regarding the disease management, particularly integrated management, to motivate them to reduce the use of the insecticide, rather to go for the neem-based products for control of the pest, the thrips. So I thank the organizers of this seminar to give me an opportunity to deliver my talk, and also to the director of CPPS and head of the department, Dr. Angapan sir, and also our director and head for this opportunity to talk over a gathering. Thank you.
Long live India and France friendship.